Well, the Houston Astros fought back from an early 3-0 deficit with clutch homers by Yainer Diaz and Jose Altuve to tie it, only to get demolished 13-3 after the bullpen surrendered 10 runs. It was a rough night at Dyken Park. Stay tuned in for this full breakdown on what's next for the Houston Astros.
Yainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
Hey, everybody, and welcome into Locked On Astros. You know, whether this team wins or loses, we got your back every single day. I am Htown Wheelhouse. You know where to find me at Htown Wheelhouse on X and on TikTok, on Instagram. It's Htown_Wheelhouse. Look, myself and Eric Huysman, you know where to find us with Locked On Astros on pretty much every social media medium. And we have 16 years podcasting experience between us. Eric has been on the radio before. I'm actually a correspondent for ESPN Southwest Louisiana. If you're from Louisiana, you probably hear me on a weekly basis. I actually talked about some really good stuff. Felt good going into this series, but, you know, it just didn't go the way of the Houston Astros. But this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Right now, you can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Download the app today. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet with FanDuel, the official partner of the NBA. And, you know, it was one of those games. The Houston Astros starting pitcher gave up one run in the first, not a big deal. Gave up one run in the fourth, manageable. Gave up a run in the in the fifth, manageable. 3-0, not a big deal, right? Of course it's not a big deal at all. Why? Because the Astros would make a comeback. They are the comeback kids. You know, coming into today's game, we talk about this quite a bit. The Astros had 15 come from behind victories. And tonight, it seemed like that was going to be the storyline. Yainer Diaz hit his sixth home run to center field, 107 miles an hour off the bat, 430-foot shot, just a monster shot. And you love to see that. But Yainer Diaz wasn't without mistake, even though he had a multi-home run game. And one of the things that led to one of those first three runs was this Chandler Sampson guy. You might have heard of him. He is an electric rookie. This kid is lighting up major leagues. He's lighting up the base paths. And what do the Astros historically do bad in the last few years? They do not hold runners on base. Whether you blame it on Yainer Diaz of him getting to third or the pitcher delivering the ball too slow to the plate to get the ball to throw the runner out, Sampson took advantage of his steal to third, where that was actually Yainer's fault, throwing the ball offline where, I mean, Isaac Paredes could not have gotten that if he would have prayed harder. And then obviously the throw home from left field, and the Astros give up that run. That was the second run in the top of the fourth. It isn't all bad from tonight's game, but the bad stuff is really bad. The good stuff is really good. The problem is you had more bad than good happen. So let's get into it. You know, the Astros had won 5 of their last 6 at home. We've talked about them winning 17 of their last 22 as well. And so the Astros have been going just playing hot, playing where I think this team, when they're playing their best baseball, can be. And they've beat good teams this year. But it seems like the Rays have our number. We're going to talk about that in the last segment today. So this almost comeback victory is what we're going to talk about and why it's important to focus on that. Second segment, we're going to talk about Yordan nearing his return and the bullpen implosion. We'll save that for the middle of the show so that we don't have to try to digest that right now. I don't know about you, but when I eat a sandwich, when I'm sitting down eating a meal, I've got to have something to drink. I mean, I will go to restaurants and I will see people eat an entire burger or a sandwich with nothing to drink. So I don't want to talk about the bullpen implosion right now because we need to make sure that we have a good palate that's ready for that. And it's not, again, all bad, but the Houston Astros, I said in my series preview, I posted a series preview online and I said the Astros need to score early and they need to stop trying to play from behind. Why? Because the Tampa Bay Rays have had our number. We'll get to that in the last segment. It is imperative that when you have the guys like Gusto and you have the other guys like Colton Gordon, these guys are going to have hiccups, and Gusto wasn't terrible. You were opposed by a pitcher who was basically 0-1 against you, and it's not like he had a ton of history with the Astros, but the Astros had success against this pitcher. So at the end of the day, you're hoping, okay, guys, let's come in, let's put up a crooked number, and let's get this first victory because we lost two. The team's talking to each other. We went to Tampa. They beat us. And so, coming into this, they wanted to continue their winning ways, right? No, look, here's the thing. Tej, let me stop here and correct. Tej said everyone thought us beating the A's meant we were elite. Nobody said that. I think you are taking out of context what we were celebrating. The Houston Astros won 3 out of 4 from the Seattle Mariners, who were red hot. They actually may come back and win tonight. They tied their game. We have also had series wins against very good teams, the Mets, the Padres, the Blue Jays, and the Tigers. So I'm sorry, sir, but we have beat good teams this year, and we haven't beaten a bunch of schlubs, all right? I think most of June, we have the Athletics for 4 games. We have the Pirates for 3. We have the Guardians for 3, the White Sox for 3, and the Twins for 3. I still think in these 20 games, you can still win 14 games out of these 20, okay? I'll split with the Rays right now. I'll take that. But at the end of the day, this team is what they are. The bullpen didn't go as according to plan. The offense tried to come back like they've done 15 times, and we haven't seen an outpouring of runs like this late on our bullpen in several games. So sometimes baseball is going to baseball. Sometimes things are going to not go your way, and you just have to wash it, move forward, and go from there. Corbin says, bring your A game against the best and the worst teams no matter what. But how do we know they didn't bring their A game? How do we know, like, if you watch Brian King, okay, and I'll get to the implosion later, he was not out in front. He was putting pitches over the middle. His pitches were hittable. He has not been hittable most of the season. Brian, when we look at what Brian Abreu has done, and again, we'll get to that. I'm getting off track. But the Astros attempted comeback was unsuccessful. The Houston Astros, I think, have more in their tank. But my question is, I want to answer this at the end. I want y'all to think about it. Are the Tampa Bay Rays the team that just simply has the Astros number? Do y'all remember when the Royals of a few seasons ago were really bad, or the Orioles before they started winning, and we could, and this team could not beat the Orioles? This may be the Rays. This may be our nemesis in 2025. And thank God we don't play them a ton after this next month, but they just seem to play really well when they play the Astros. And you hope it's not a trend that continues. And we are going to talk about Yordan nearing his comeback and go into details about the bullpen implosion in our next segment. Y'all, let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual. It's a lifeline. The thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 countries and top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour over purist, they've got a roast you'll love. I actually took the trade quiz. It only took me a minute. I got my first bag. The last 3 mornings have been exquisite. Why? Because I get fresh trade coffee. It smells amazing. And honestly, it's ruined my grocery store coffee. No longer am I going to get those Keurig cups. I have a Keurig, but I literally got the filter to put the fresh ground coffee in my coffee maker to make the coffee that I want at the taste that I want. And I love their prices. They're comparable to the grocery store brands. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your first month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1 month trial. Drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Locked On Astros. We really do appreciate you guys showing up. I'm one half of Locked On Astros. Eric the Man Huysman is off tonight. He had his first week of work in the real world, and I told him, you know what, I'll take this one. I got home pretty quickly after the game was over and set up. Went and saw Mission Impossible, was it the Day of Reckoning or whatever it's called, the Final Reckoning. It's actually the second time I've seen it. It's a darn good movie. It is a darn good movie. But Yordan Alvarez was running around the bases. Yordan Alvarez has been doing more and more activity. And Yordan Alvarez, it was announced today by the Astros that he will take live BP tomorrow on the field, and where he goes from there, they weren't 100% sure, but Joe Espada did say he's closer to returning than he has been at any point when he's been down. So we will have to see what that means. I did watch some footage of Yordan Alvarez, and when he was swinging, the couple swings that I saw posted, on one of the swings, he looked like he wasn't ultra comfortable, but he didn't look like he was in pain. I don't know if you know this, but Yordan Alvarez took batting practice today with no helmet. He had just his bald head and his bat in his ailing hand, and he was still hitting the ball pretty hard. So hoping to see him tomorrow. It sounds like Washington took the lead in the top of the 10th, 4-2. They are in Seattle. So if the Mariners are able to lose, which I would love for that to happen, then the Astros would remain only a half game out of first place. So you love to see that. But Yordan Alvarez nearing his return is important. They could have used his bat tonight, but man, the way the bullpen imploded, and I think that is really the story, is I don't care if you had Yordan Alvarez, Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge all in the same lineup. I don't know that you're coming back from this. And when you look at who it was for the Rays that did all the damage, Camarino did damage. Aranda, Yandy Diaz, not Yiner Diaz, like David Raymond so famously renamed Yiner. Caballero had a multi-hit game. But when you look at how they did it, they weren't done scoring when they got to the 3 runs, because the Astros tied it up, obviously. Bottom of the 6th, Jose Altuve hit another home run, looked great at the plate today, hitting 268. His average has ticked back up some 20-plus points. And then you go to the 7th inning. You have Brandon Lowe hit by a pitch, okay? And then Yandy Diaz singles, Josh Lowe scores, Brandon Lowe to third. And then that gives the Rays the lead. Jonathan Aranda doubles on a ground ball to right fielder Cam Smith. This is all on the watch of Brian King. And so the next 5 runs, the next 5 hits would all be credited to Brian King. He's got a 3-1 record. His ERA is 3.38 now. And then Camarino homered that was also in the 7th inning, where that was pretty much all the scoring the Rays would do. But you had King give up 5 runs in 1/3 of an inning. Ort came in, gave up 3 runs on 1 inning. Forrest Whitley, 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. And then what do you know? The one bullpen guy that comes in and shuts down the Rays, Cesar Salazar. Cesar Salazar is like, hey, coach, put me in. It couldn't be any worse, right? They did that to save another arm. And in the series preview, I talked about how they hadn't used too much of the bullpen and how they had plenty of bullpen arms available. And I was, the Astros can depend on King tonight. They can depend on Ort. They can depend on Whitley. And those are the 3 guys that just the Rays got the best of them. And you hate to see that, because this team's calling card has been the pitching, has been the bullpen. But as good as they've been, every once in a while, you're going to have a stinker. You're going to have a game where you go out and you don't have your stuff. Just ask Mike Stanton. Mike Stanton talks about it all the time, how, he got put in when he pitched in his 19-year career. He was constantly put in pressure situations. He was the guy that they put in with men on base. And he said that was absolutely a brutal test of will and fortitude. Brian King, though, got himself into these situations. Again, when you go back and watch the hits, one thing I love about MLB Game Days, you can go back and you can see it by scoring. You can also go watch condensed games on YouTube. But every one of these hits that Brian King gave up, it wasn't like, until you had that home run off of King, which was absolutely obliterated. The other hits, they were doubles, but the singles and the balls getting into the outfield, it was just ball placement. It was hitting the zone, but in the heart of the zone. And that's what the Rays took advantage of. They've won 8 of their last 11 now, and they are just a solid offensive team. Their bullpen held up. When your starter only goes 3 2/3 innings and you use in the game 5 relief pitchers plus a position player, things aren't going well for them. The second guy that came in, Uceta, came in, and I don't even know if I'm saying that guy's name right, Uceta. He's now got a 4-1 record, but he only pitched 1/3 of an inning. The guy gets the win. Then Orzi came in and Solser came in. But between those 3 guys, you only had 3 1/3 innings, where Baz threw 5.2. And his game wasn't terrible, but it wasn't, superb. He only had 3 Ks. He gave up 7 hits and 3 runs. So at the end of the day, the Astros in a game like this, you depend on someone like the Nationals. And it looks like top of the 10th, 1 out, Washington 9, Seattle 2. I'm pretty sure Seattle doesn't. Now, if Seattle comes back and wins this game, I'll do a YouTube short just dedicated to the Mariners. Now, I want to ask y'all a question about the latest MLB squad show that I did last night. I want to know if y'all watched it, but also we want to talk about, do the Rays just simply have our number in the next segment next? Boys and girls, I'm glad you're here. I've told you about Supply House, and if you are into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, and you are one of these pros, you need the right products. You need them delivered fast. You need them delivered no matter where you are. You need them at a good price. And you know what helps with Supply House? They actually have real people that talk to you. I mean, you don't get, we've changed our menu options. Press 1 for HVAC, press 2. Like, you talk to a real person. They're easy to use website, gives you helpful resources. The inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus brands, you'll find exactly what you need. If you need help with the order, they offer expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. Trade pros looking for that extra edge. Their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. I talk to my dad about this all the time, and he said, man, I wish I had this when I was starting my career as a master electrician. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, let's talk about this Tampa Bay Rays and Houston Astros rivalry in 2025. Because when I look at the standings, okay, and I know the Rays have been playing better lately, 8 out of their last 11. They are in second place, but they're only 2 games over 500. They're 6.5 games out of first place. They have climbed back to the top. The Yankees in their division have won 5 in a row. They are at a plus 30 run differential. The Astros are at a plus 26. But the Astros have played them now 4 times and have lost 3 of those 4 games. So the Astros, let's just do this. Can we call these next 3 games a 3-game series? Because if we do, we could say they won 2 out of 3. So take 3, take the first loss, forget about it, okay? The key is you've got Framber Valdez and you've got Hunter Brown. You want to see Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez go out there and deal. The offense, though, has to follow suit and support those pitchers because we have seen what has happened in the past when the Astros have played the Rays this year. Colton Gordon, who's actually going in game 3, through 5 1/3 innings, had 7 strikeouts in the only game that the Astros won in their first series versus the Rays, okay? Now, when you look at their 2 losses, 3-2, the starting pitcher for the Astros in that game was Brandon Walter. He was the guy who got called up. And remember, they had moved Hunter Brown in the order, and this is where he took a loss. This was the game that he had 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, gave up 5 earned runs and 4 strikeouts, 3 home runs. Remember, we talked about how the home runs were kind of cheap home runs because they were in Tampa. Well, here's the deal. The Rays have beat Hunter Brown, but Hunter Brown is at home. And I do believe that the Houston Astros can win 2 of these next 3. But they're going to have to do it not just with the bullpen and with their pitching. They're going to have to do it with the bats. Yes, they did almost come from behind. Yes, Yainer Diaz hit a 430-foot shot. Jose Altuve hit the community friend signs. I mean, those were great home runs, but they were solo shots. We didn't have the opportunities that we've had the last several games. Okay, we were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Rays were 7 for 19 with runners in scoring position. Absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy to see that. Like, that is not something that's been common this year. So the Rays may have the Astros number, but the Astros, I think if you have Colton Gordon, who has a victory on the road against them, and then you have Framber Valdez, who's pitching better of late, Hunter Brown, who's bounced back since that last, poo-poo of a start against the Rays, the Astros can easily win the next 3 games. Now, Do I think it's probable? At this point, I really don't. But I do think that it's possible to win 2 of these next 3. And the way they got beat tonight, if the Astros can split this series, I will not be upset about that. Now, I want to be greedy and say the Astros take the next 3, but I'm also a realist. And this team has got to be firing on all cylinders. Now, the question also remains, will we have Yordan Alvarez back during this series? There is a possibility that he could return versus the Rays. There are 3 games of opportunity for him to do that. Maybe on that Sunday, and that's what I think they're probably going to do, is put Yordan Alvarez in, obviously as DH, not in left field, and then you're going to see maybe he'll take the bull by the horns, hit a long ball or 2. I would like to see one of the Astros have the day that some of the Rays hitters had, because when you look at the game, oh my gosh, Junior Camareno was the player of the game, voted by the fans, 3 for 6, a home run, a double, 6 RBI. Wow. Now, Yainer Diaz, not a bad day at the plate, 2 for 4 with a home run, an RBI, and a run. But man, nobody was on base. Just like when Altuve got, nobody was on base. The bases were empty. So, well, while solo shots won't kill your pitchers, a lot of times solo shots won't win you games either. But yes, we do need pitching help, Joseph. I agree. Look, Miguel Eola is killing it in AAA. This guy's numbers are absolutely outstanding. I'm going to read you some of his numbers lately because I retweeted it from the Astros player development page. If y'all are on X, I would encourage you to go to the Houston Astros player development. Okay. They have a great website. Not a great website. They have a great account that keeps you up to date with all the things happening with all the prospects. So get this, Miguel Eola entered tonight's game, and this was yesterday, with the 1.0 ERA in his last 4 starts. Over that span, opposing batters are hitting 164 against him with 29 strikeouts in 18 innings. He's killing it down there. He is absolutely killing it. I also saw a post by Astros Future about Walker Yonick. And Walker Yonick, although I don't think he's going to come up this year, I think the future is bright. Right now, coming into the game yesterday, he had thrown out an impressive 38% of his runners. Our guys haven't thrown out hardly anybody. So you've got some things happening on the farm, some promising things pitching-wise. So don't lose hope. It's one game. Don't go jumping off the fan base cliff and want to sell the team and get rid of your Astros gear, because we live to fight another day. 3 more games versus the Rays. Can we turn it around? And can we make it look like our home field advantage is going to stick against a team that seems to have our number? I thank y'all so much for tuning in with me. I'm solo to what happened. I hope you're able to check out Michael Connor's postcast right after. Gives you the good, gritty post-game reaction. So make sure you check him out. But support Locked On Astros here on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you hear podcasts. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram. It doesn't matter where you are, we are there. Y'all have a good one. And as always, make sure you make us your first listen every single day. I almost forgot something. And I'm going to end the show with this. Cut the outro music. Y'all need to go watch we're going to not end it. I want y'all to go watch the MLB squad show that I was on. Okay. And the Locked On Dodgers guy, Jeff, in his first comment mentioned teams cheating to win World Series. So then we come around, I clipped a little portion of the show, And I talked about the Astros run and how they had gone to 4 World Series, 1, 2, and all that stuff. And then he came back at me, and I stood my ground. And I looked at him and I said, listen to me, Mr. Dodger fan, you. I said, Jeff, you have won 2 World Series since 2017. And the only thing you can talk about is the 2017 World Series. Man, I was furious. And then I got blamed for bringing it up when he was the one who brought it up in his opening comments. So, hey, support that show. And the MLB Squad show is on, whether I'm on there or not. Go check it out. Watch it. You get a great perspective from around the league. Sorry, I had to get it out of my chest. Once again, from myself, from Eric Huysman, from everybody here in the Locked On Astros world, make sure you make us your team every single day. Go Stros.